Hello, Christy, and thank you so much for asking this question. It was confusing when I read it because I had to read through it a few times to see if I could understand it. So, yes, in Module 6, as you noted, we are going to write a full blown review. So, in Module 5, we're doing like some pre writing, some just kind of pre work to be able to write that review, okay? So, let's go ahead and I think I'll answer a lot of the questions and I'll get back to this for a second. So, when I go to the rubric, okay, so it's to prepare you to write a book review. So we have to write a book review, but we're not quite there yet. So what are we going to write it on? Well, we can choose a book. Now, again, it can be from a book you're reading now. If you finished one of the books that you are reading for this class, great. Or it can be a book that you've read before. As long as you've read the whole thing, you want to be able to write a review on a whole complete book. So it doesn't have to be the book that you're reading for this class. It can be anything. And then you're going to write a short proposal for this particular assignment. But what is that proposal? Now, this is what threw me off. In preparation of this journal, you should read 2 book reviews. Okay, so this is the way that I interpret this. The idea here isn't that the reviews here are going to explain how to write a review. Again, these just have reviews. So this is a kind of like, hey, I need you to write a song. Well, what's the song? So I'm going to play a song for you. You're like, oh, okay, let's say we're going to write a country music song. Okay, so I'm going to play some country music for you. Oh, that's what a country song is. Now, I'm not really showing you how to write the country song. I've just kind of explained this is what a country song is when it's all done. So these are reviews that are kind of like what it's going to look like when it's done. So in order to prep to be able to write something like that, we just need to kind of see what the end result will look like eventually. So that's what I take from that. Okay, so you're just kind of looking at a couple of book reviews to see what your final book review, which you do in Module 6, will end up being like. So yeah, they're not really designed to be this. So for this journal, it's basically pretty simple. Just pick a book that you're going to be doing. Again, it can be from this semester or when you've done before, and then just why. Why would that book? Because it's the genre, it's one that inspired you, it's one of your favorite books, it's got themes you want to explore, whatever, okay? And then what do you expect to find from this work, okay? So again, if you kind of look at the elements they've included in some of these things, what are the stuff that do they cover in their reviews? Do they talk about theme? Do they talk about the writing style? Do they talk about tone? Characters, storyline, plot twists, okay? So if you're like, okay, well, when I do this book review on whatever book, that's a book you're familiar with, I expect when I do the review, it'll talk a lot about how this is a character-driven book, and here are the reasons why. Or it's a plot-driven book, or this book, it struggled because there was a bunch of, it was inconsistencies or whatever. So basically, it's just kind of, again, pre-writing of what you kind of expect your book review to be like. Okay, so when I go to grade it, as long as you've told me which book you're going to do and why, okay, and then the expectations, that's really the big thing right there, is the expectations. It's kind of like, hey, I expect as I do this review that, I'll cover a lot about characters and how they were developed or how they were not developed, or the fact that it used this theme. Anything that we've talked about in this class up to this point in time, you can use as, like point of view and stuff like that. Then, that's the kind of stuff. And then again, just if you made any errors as far as organization. So that's, again, if I was approaching it, that's the way that I would do it. Again, I really see this as a whole pre-writing kind of activity, and we're just looking at a few reviews of completed reviews to know that where we're gonna eventually end up, so we can kind of get some ideas of what kind of stuff we're going to look for and maybe expect to write in our own. Okay, so let's see if that answers your questions. What does it mean do we expect to find? Again, I think that is so, what do you expect to find? So yes, that seems like a contradictory. What do we expect to find? Well, I've already read the book. What do you mean I expect to find? I know what's in there. But when we stop to do a review, sometimes we think about the book a little deeper. And especially now with some of the things that we've learned about in this class, with theme, point of view, character, and such like that, we can say, oh, now that I've learned more about point of view, or now that I've learned more about theme or genre tropes or whatever, I expect to be able to find, as I read this book, I'll be able to recognize the theme more and give reasons why, or I'll expect to understand why this character is doing this thing. So that's what I would go with. If this isn't clear, let me know. Again, this whole thing is a little weird, but I'm glad you asked the question. Hopefully that clarifies it. So let me know. All right. Thanks.